Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. A lot of breaking news today. The search for the Brown University killer continues. Police announced that a person of interest who was taken into custody on Sunday has since been released. Authorities are asking for the public's help in identifying the shooter after releasing some new photos yesterday. We have the latest for you on this. President Donald Trump said yesterday he was classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, ramping up his administration's campaign against drug cartels in Latin America. And Rob Reiner's son, Nick, has been charged with murder, held without bail in the slaughter of the Princess Bride director and wife, Michele. It's been a growing controversy in Oconee County for months now, known as the Newry Project, which would add more than 5,000 housing units in a former mill village. There's been some casualties along the way with the dismissal of county administrator and most recently the sudden resignation of Clemson University President Jim Clements, who some believe was also involved in the controversial project. To answer many of the questions, Oconee County Council Chairman Matthew Durham joins us in today's show.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but you know they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
As the manhunt for the Brown University gunman continues, Providence residents are on high alert, as you can imagine, against potential danger. Resident Seth, who would not give his full name, works in the real estate industry, said that several tenants had contacted him, one who'd been out of town, saying, "When I got back in after the trip, I was legitimately scared to enter my apartment. Because of this, I'll start locking my door." Police in Providence are asking the community to submit any tips to authorities that they are working to try to track down the gunman who killed 2 students, wounded 9 others at Brown University over the weekend. The FBI released new images of a person of interest in the mass shooting. The FBI's Boston field office released 3 new images yesterday showing someone wearing a dark clothing captured from a different surveillance camera. The images were retrieved around 2 p.m. on Saturday, according to authorities, 2 hours before the shooting. Several rounds were fired from a 9mm handgun. The person of interest was described as a male, approximately 5 feet 8 inches tall, with a stocky build. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the identification, arrest, and conviction of the individual. Now, on Sunday, the police announced that they had detained a person of interest. That person has since been released. Former FBI Special Agent Nicole Parker told Fox and Friends First that the detention and subsequent release of a person of interest is how investigations work in the real world, she said. Parker said that while the release of the person of interest is obviously not very good for the investigation, she says these things do happen, and law enforcement has to go back to ground zero and start over.
Right. This is obviously not good for this investigation, and this is very chilling for the residents of the area and for the students on the campus. You know, I know that the shelter in place was not lifted for several hours, and you always breathe a sigh of relief when someone is in custody. But this person was released. It does happen, Carly, and this is how investigations in the real world work. We're used to watching television shows, movies, where it's solved within 60 minutes, and that's not always the case. But I think right now it's very important to look at myself as an investigator. I'm looking very closely. Was this person just indiscriminately shooting into that classroom, or was this a targeted attack? Looking at the victim selection. Now they've identified one of the victims as Ella Cook, and she was from, I believe, Alabama, and a very faithful woman, a woman of light, a woman of peace is what they said about her. But she was also the vice president of the Republicans Club at the university at Brown. Also, looking at who the professor was, and was that classroom targeted because of who she was? And so I think that's very important to look at. But what the FBI has done is that they provided resources, and they basically took a lead from the local police department, ran it down, and that's how they came up with this person of interest. They utilized the CAST system, the Cellular Analysis Survey team, and look, it came up and this is not the right person. So they've got to go back to the drawing board. I know that they have reconstructed the crime scene. The evidence response team has been there on site, but this isn't all hands on deck. Any leads need to be reported to law enforcement immediately.
President Trump said he hopes authorities capture the animal responsible for the deadly shooting. Trump was speaking to reporters yesterday when he was asked about a potential motive for the attack. He said in the Oval Office, "No, we don't. Hopefully they're going to capture this animal soon." Investigators yesterday continued to comb through bushes looking for forensic evidence next to the Brown University academic building where the shooting occurred. At least 20 law enforcement agents from the FBI were seen outside the Barris and Holly Engineering and Physics building, appearing to be looking for evidence in that general area. Behind the building, several law enforcement agents were seen standing outside, one with a shovel as if he had been digging in that certain area. FBI agents were also spotted walking around the building, digging their feet in the snow, searching for evidence. At one point, a female FBI agent collected an item and placed it in a brown bag. It's unclear what was collected, but we just know that they are working around the clock to try to come up with anything. Now, more is being learned about the incident. This past weekend, the Rhode Island Republican Party said it was devastated to learn of the death of Ella Cook, vice president of the Brown College Republicans, following this deadly mass shooting. Joe Powers, chairman of the Rhode Island GOP, described Cook as a bold, faithful, and inspiring young conservative leader who fearlessly shared beliefs on campus. Described by those who knew her as a bright light, kind, and grounded. Ella embodied the very best of the next generation of conservative voices, he said in the statement. Cook was a sophomore at Brown University. Just a sad, sad situation for this family and all the families involved this close to Christmas. Now, Rhode Islanders are calling for answers, as you can imagine. Yesterday, Fox News Digital spoke with Eve Steiglitz, whose parents live close to Brown University. Steiglitz, who was in the area for the holiday, said that Rhode Islanders have zero faith in the security system right now, saying people are shocked by the lack of footage and are very uncomfortable to be in the area knowing a killer is loose. There are thousands of cameras in that neighborhood and around campus. I don't understand how this could go amiss. How is there no video of the shooter? I don't understand how a $70,000 a year university doesn't have that level of security. This, of course, is the question a lot of people are asking, because it does seem like you can't do anything or go anywhere these days without being on a video. And look, the police have released some additional video footage from yesterday. It's just there's nothing that is clear that gives you just a clear shot of this young man's face. Again, he looks to be a white male, sort of a stocky build, or at least the latest video images that were released yesterday. Again, it could be that it's someone else, just like they apprehended the guy early on Sunday and then later released him. I think you have to give the law enforcement the credit that they are working as quickly as they possibly can. Obviously, they want to take the man off the street, whoever he is. But you just have to let law enforcement work the case. And as the FBI agent just said a minute ago, they're back to ground zero. When they released that guy, they started all over again. And that's why they have put out a cry for help. They're asking people in that neighborhood to go back, look at their doorbell cameras, look at any of their own personal security cameras, because, that's how they do these cases. They literally piece together everything that happened in that neighborhood hours before, during the shooting, and hours after. And that's how they're able to piece this together and eventually put together a timeline of a odd-looking, suspicious-looking person in the area, someone who maybe did not belong in the neighborhood, and maybe it's from multiple different cameras. But they put it together and eventually will come up with a profile, and there's probably a nice, clear picture somewhere of this shooter that eventually will be turned over. We just have to, again, trust that the FBI, trust that local police are doing everything possible to nab this guy and put him behind bars. Everyone says they'll start after the holidays, and that's exactly why most people never tackle those extra pounds at all. Joey Hudson here. Right now, PhD Weight Loss is making it easy to start before the new year with a bonus designed to get you moving now. They're adding 2 free weeks to your program. That means you can ramp up during the holidays and start the new year already working toward your goals. Those 2 free weeks mean you won't roll into January feeling behind. You'll hit January already losing, already feeling better, already in control. PhD's metabolic reset system teaches your body to burn fat first. No drugs, no starvation diets, no endless workouts, just a smarter science-based system that fits real life. And when you mention 2 weeks on the phone, they'll waive your consultation fee and pay for the cost of your food during the entire program. There's no reason to wait, no reason to repeat last year. Call PhD Weight Loss today and start 2026 already ahead. 864-644-1900. Call today. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Don't wait. Do it today. You know, it seems like these last few days, all we're talking about is just agony and devastation and sadness as we are so close to the Christmas season. Talking about the shooting at Brown University, talking about the shooting in Australia, where so many families were just devastated over the weekend. And, of course, the disturbing and deeply tragic story out of Los Angeles, one involving a very famous Hollywood family. But more importantly, the violent loss of 2 lives in a criminal case now moving through the justice system. Authorities in Los Angeles are investigating the killings of acclaimed filmmaker and actor Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Reiner, who were found dead inside their Brentwood home over the weekend. Police say that both victims suffered fatal stab wounds. Investigators have not publicly released the exact time of death, nor have they disclosed details about the weapon used or the sequence of events leading up to the killings. What they have confirmed, though, is that this is being treated as a double homicide, and an arrest has already been made in this case. Their adult son, Nick Reiner, has been arrested and charged in connection with the death. He is currently being held without bail and has not entered a plea. As with any criminal case, it's important to emphasize that Nick Reiner is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. But, according to law enforcement sources, Nick Reiner was taken into custody several hours after the bodies were discovered. Police have said the investigation moved quickly, but they have not publicly detailed the evidence that led them to identify him as a suspect. Now, family members were present when authorities arrived at the home. Police say relatives cooperated fully with investigators. Court proceedings are now underway, and prosecutors are expected to provide more information in the coming days as this case advances. Now, because of the high-profile nature of this family, there's been intense media attention, as you can imagine, and with that, a great deal of speculation. Law enforcement has been clear that many claims circulating online and in some reports have not been confirmed and should not be treated as fact. So just be careful with what you read online, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, or wherever you get your news. There's a lot of information being pushed out. And this being one of Hollywood's own, we're probably going to see a lot more information pushed out. Investigators so far have declined to comment on allegations involving prior family disputes. There is, according to various accounts and some of the family members and friends of Rob Reiner's, evidently this young man, the son, had a substance abuse history. He had mental health issues. And if that turns out to be true and if this is relevant, it will be addressed through the legal process, not through the public rumor mill. Police have also not confirmed whether any events prior to the killing played a role in what happened. So basically, we don't have a whole lot of information that is officially on the record. Several media outlets have reported that the family attended a holiday gathering the night before the deaths and that there may have been tension during the event. Authorities have not confirmed those reports. Investigators have not said whether that gathering is relevant to the case. At this point, though, what matters is what can be established in court, not speculation, not anonymous sourcing, and not viral commentary on your favorite social media site. Rob Reiner was 78 years old. He'd had a career that spanned more than 5 decades. He was the first known to Americans as Meathead. Many of you my age knew him as Meathead on the groundbreaking television series All in the Family before becoming one of the most successful directors of his generation. And I, like probably many of you, watched All in the Family. Years later, I had the opportunity through my dear friend Mike Gallagher and his late wife Denise Gallagher. We got to know Sally Struthers, who was part of All in the Family. And, of course, Sally would share experiences with Rob Reiner, working for him, working with him. His films included Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, one of my favorites, Misery, and A Few Good Men. That was one of my favorites, too, A Few Good Men. Works that truly shaped popular culture and are still widely watched on streaming services today. His wife, Michele Reiner, was a respected photographer and author and was often described by friends as a deeply devoted wife, mother, and advocate for the arts. Tributes have poured in from across Hollywood and beyond, with colleagues describing Rob Reiner as a brilliant, passionate, deeply influential, even among those who disagree with him politically. And boy, he did not agree. Let me just say this. He probably would not be listening to me on the radio. We have opposite views. But amid the tributes, there is a growing call for restraint for now. Law enforcement officials and victims advocates alike are urging the public to remember that this is an active criminal case and that reckless speculation can harm not only the integrity of the investigation, but also the surviving family members. One family member told investigators early on that they feared for safety and believed that Nick Reiner should be considered a suspect. That statement has been reported by multiple outlets, but police have not elaborated on it publicly. But I guess the fact that they apprehended him and have him in custody with no chance of bond probably would tell you that that is true. What we know is that this family had faced challenges, as many families do. Investigators, again, haven't speculated on a motive there. Legal experts say the coming weeks will be critical. The judge has already imposed strict courtroom rules limiting public access to certain proceedings while allowing limited media coverage under specific conditions. For the Reiner family, the loss is obviously devastating. Beyond fame, beyond the headlines, 2 people are gone. And those left behind are grieving under the harsh glare of public attention. I mean, think about this. Think about the other children. Their parents are dead, and one of their siblings has been charged with that. This, of course, is just a sobering reminder that violence does not discriminate by wealth, by your status, by your celebrity, by your achievements in life. And when this type of tragedy strikes, the pursuit of truth must remain just like in any other case, grounded in facts and law and due process. It'll all come out in the end. Again, there's a lot of speculation on this young man, and he's had his demons. Lot of things reported over the years. I mean, literally at times he's been homeless. Again, a lot of substance abuse issues, addiction issues, mental health issues. All the things that can add up to a very sad story like we're reading today. He's been at the center of a growing controversy involving a massive proposed development near the old Newry Mill site, a project that would have added about 5,000 housing units in Oconee County. And because of some of the serious questions about political influence, conflicts of interest, and transparency, Oconee County Council Chairman Matthew Durham has ignited a firestorm that led to the dismissal of the county administrator, Amanda Brock, and just recently the abrupt resignation of Clemson University President Jim Clements, who cited health and family as his reasons for leaving early. The timing seems curious to many who followed the story. Matthew Durham joins us now. Mr. Chairman, welcome. Appreciate your time today.
Joey, thanks for having me on.
So let's start at the beginning. For listeners who maybe have not followed this closely, what exactly is the Newry Project, and when did red flags first go up for those of you on Oconee County Council?
So Mark Hart was the representative for United Homes Group who approached the county council about creating a planned development district, a PDD, in the Newry area on 600 acres for a massive mixed-use housing development with have some commercial elements, apartments, duplexes, single-family homes. And it was massive, 5,200 homes, which would be far exceed the largest municipality in the county, which is Seneca. So we looked at the project, we listened to them. We took a vote and sent a letter to the developer that said, you're free to develop your property, but we're not going to waiver on our density standards. We have a density ordinance in the county that limits for that area where it's zoned, limits it to 4 homes per acre if there's sewer access, 2 homes per acre for septic. So we told them we were not going to waiver on that. The proposal far exceeded those density standards. We feel like we was doing the developer, doing right by them because they're spending money and developing plans. And we want to tell them, hey, you can develop it, but we're not going to waiver on this. The developer then, Mark Hart, interesting enough, once you start digging into his past, he was the CFO for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then later was the CFO for the Carolina Panthers, and he headed up the botched practice facility in York County that left taxpayers, state taxpayers and county taxpayers in York County holding a bag for millions of dollars. But Mr. Hart, he responded back to us with a letter that told us that if we didn't quickly concede, he was going to follow it with a robust media campaign and that he would be taking political action and legal action. We didn't take too kindly to the bullying. I sat on that letter for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. Then I decided, hey, let's put it out there to the public, let the public see. The public in Oconee County, they didn't take too kindly to the bullying either, and it kind of snowballed from that point.
Yeah.
Once that letter got out there and the citizens started following it, I had a citizen send me a message and just generic said, I don't believe that it's right for Nikki Haley, who's trustee at Clemson University, and Jim Clements, the president of Clemson, to sit on the board of this development company with all the development we have in the area. Well, I looked at that and I said, well, that's the same. I never thought to go look see who the board of directors was for United Homes Group. I said, that's the same development company that is, looking to develop Newry. That's the same guys. And once that, I looked at that and it became obviously clear on why Mr. Hart felt so confident in his threats against us, because when you look at who was his backing on the leadership board for United Homes Group, he had a major political player, major institutional power. And I felt like, and as a council, we felt like that's maybe why he felt so bold in his statements. So we just decided to put that out there and make it public.
So at that point, and with me today, Matthew Durham, chairman of the Oconee County Council, at that point, you had no idea of the involvement or how deep the involvement potentially could be at Clemson until you received this email. And is it fair to say that you weren't necessarily opposed to the development, but just the process and what, and maybe his attitude about you're going to do it my way or else? Is that kind of the attitude he had?
Right. I mean, we're not anti-development, but we certainly would not be happy with that many homes being showed in that area on a highway that goes across 2 docks that you can't widen. But we told him to follow the standards and he can develop it. In the letter he replied back to us, he also told us that he does not feel compelled to follow the county's local ordinances. Yeah. Just a sense of arrogance.
Sure.
Once we put that information out there, and once we put it out there that the Clemson leadership tie to United Homes Group the university immediately released a memo that mentioned me by name and said that I was posting untrue information, so that the university had no involvement in the deal, and that the deal was not even a United Homes Group deal.
Yeah.
Which struck us as it's quite odd, because United Homes Group is the one who represented the project to us the whole time. They communicated to the county using United Homes Group emails. They paid invoices to the county sewer authority for sewer studies. So that was a false statement that the university put out, but it raised more questions of why would the university be so quick to, one, say that they're not involved, then two, to say that it's not even a United Homes Group project, which we knew 100% it was a United Homes Group project. At that point in time, other than Nikki Haley being on the board of directors for United Homes Group, as well as President Clements, we didn't know the extent as a county council that Clemson University was involved.
There's a lot to unpack here for sure. Now, it's my understanding that at some point, and this was while the university was claiming they weren't involved in the project, had no interest in the project, at some point you became aware of some proposed drawings of how this could potentially look. And the architect, I think from the Atlanta area, actually had on these drawings Clemson University athletic fields and facilities. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct. And we had never had them drawings presented to county council. A citizen found those drawings on the architect's website and sent those to us. At that time, that was found before we knew about the flight. But we found those documents, and the whole time Clemson University denied any involvement. Once we found out about the flight, the university came out and said, well, we did a review, but that was all. They never admit anything until you first uncover something first. And then when the initial FOIA, they pointed us to a press statement that said they did a review and that was it. And they told us there was no documents. Well, you don't plan a trip to Purdue without generating some documents. Yeah. They also, interesting, so we filed more FOIAs in more detail and got emails back recently, 175 emails. That doesn't just show a review, it shows in-depth planning. Not just a trip to Purdue, the university, Angie Leidinger, one of the main conversations on there, along with Tony Wagner, who was the COO. They speak on there that President Clements is aware of the opportunity, but he won't take part in the conversation because he does serve on the board of United Homes Group. But the whole time they're excited about the opportunity. Not only do they go to Purdue, but they have monthly meetings. Tony Wagner, along with Laura Stoner, who's the vice president for land development, real estate for Clemson, they all took four-wheel-drive vehicles with United Homes Group leadership and toured the nearest site. So this is in-depth, planning. They even sent the master planner for the university to United Homes Group. I'm assuming so they can design it to look like the master plan for the university. But one thing we don't see anywhere in the emails is Clemson saying they're not interested in the project. It's actually the opposite.
So shortly after your FOIA request was granted and you received some of the emails and you started confirming some of your suspicions, Clemson President Jim Clements announced his resignation. This was very curious in itself because he had just recently signed an extension through, I think, 2029. There's nothing, I guess, so far has officially tied these two together, his quick exit to this. But what do you think? Do you believe the Neary controversy played a role in his decision to step down?
I just know the timing does not look right. And I know that university presidents do not resign a mid-fiscal year, mid-academic year with a 3-week notice when the university is probably only working 2 weeks in the month of December. I do not know, but it looks the same to me as it does to everyone else.
So, Matthew, where do you go from here? Do you have additional FOIA requests pending?
We do have additional FOIA requests pending. And interestingly enough, a few days before he announced his resignation, we got some letters from their attorneys asking questions about our FOIAs. We zeroed in on exactly what we wanted and expected to receive. I'm interested to know what that reveals. One of the things on that FOIA request is the communications that the university has put out around this project, the denials, the deceptive communications. We requested, the chain of custody of those communications, who crafted them, who approved them, any discussion around the development of those communications.
One final question for you. As you got into this, did you have any idea that Jim Clements might actually resign and step down from his position?
No, I had no idea where this was going to go, what path it was going to go. And it was certainly a surprise to myself as it was everyone else.
Matthew, it's a pleasure. Appreciate your time. We'll keep following the story as updates are available. Hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it.
Matthew Durham, chairman of the Oconee County Council. There you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, the story of what's been written about, talked about, and cost a county administrator her job and potentially caused the early resignation of a college president. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On the text line, Jennifer writes, Joey, I've been listening in the cold, snowy north, but we're almost back south. Thanks for keeping the suffering state of New York in your reporting. We support Elise Stefanik. Every state needs two things going forward. Number one, accountability from the people who seek power in order to serve Americans first, not themselves and not those who are in our country illegally. And number two, voting. Go vote. It's so important. Talk about it every day. Vote for the strong leadership that a conservative government brings. That's the only way to win in 2026. You have to outvote the woke. Outvote the woke. There you go, Jennifer. Thank you. Ray says, good day, Joey. Sometimes I wish just one more time we could hear mega dittos on the radio. We sure need Rush in these crazy times. We all miss him, don't we? We all miss the voice of Rush Limbaugh. God bless him. President Donald Trump is escalating his administration's war on fentanyl and doing so in a very dramatic fashion. Yesterday, the president signed a new executive order officially classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, placing it in the same category as nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons. Trump made the case bluntly. No bomb does what this is doing, he said at the signing ceremony in the Oval Office. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. Now, to be clear, official federal numbers paint a little bit of a different picture, but the scale of the crisis is still staggering. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the U.S. recorded roughly 80,000 overdose deaths in 2024 and about 48,000 likely specifically to synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl. That's more Americans killed in a single year than many U.S. wars. And that's the context that President Trump and his administration is leaning into. The executive order argues that illicit fentanyl is closer to a chemical weapon than a narcotic, calling it a direct threat to a national security that fuels instability across the hemisphere and chaos at our southern border. And this move doesn't stand alone. In fact, it fits squarely into Trump's broader campaign against what his administration now labels narco-terrorists, the criminal organizations that traffic drugs, try to control a certain territory, and destabilize governments. So think about this. Since early September, that campaign has included direct U.S. military action with strikes no more than 20 suspected drug smuggling vessels in the Caribbean to date. According to administration officials, those strikes have killed nearly 90 people. President Trump argues that each vessel destroyed saves tens of thousands of American lives. His critics push back pretty hard on that claim. They note that most of the boats intercepted at sea were likely carrying cocaine, not fentanyl. And that fentanyl overwhelmingly enters the United States over land through the southern border, largely from Mexico, not by sea from Colombia, Venezuela. I don't know. I trust the president, and whether it's fentanyl or cocaine or whatever, those narco boats still need to be destroyed. Now, the administration insists the operations sends a clear message. And that message is the United States will treat large-scale drug trafficking as a national security threat, not just a criminal justice issue. And to underscore that point, the White House has overseen a major military buildup in the Caribbean, including deployment of the world's largest aircraft carrier, additional warships, and increased surveillance flights along the Venezuela coastline. That buildup has triggered sharp reactions abroad. Venezuela's leftist leader, Nicolas Maduro, accuses Washington of using drug enforcement as a pretext for regime change. Look, Mr. leftist leader of Venezuela, if you don't want our warships off your coast, if you don't want our airplanes flying in that international airspace, then stop your drug lords from trying to ship their product to our country. The Trump administration is doubling down, formally accusing Maduro of leading what it calls the cartel of the Suns, a network allegedly involving senior Venezuelan officials in narcotics trafficking. Look, the truth is, Maduro and his goons in Venezuela, drugs is their primary source of income. Last month, the U.S. designated that group of narco-terrorist organizations and announced a $50 million reward for information leading to Maduro's capture. He's a bad guy. He's indirectly killed thousands, if not millions, of Americans with his drugs. So, yes, he's an enemy of the state. Supporters of President Trump argued this is a long overdue realism, that treating drug cartels with the seriousness of enemy combatants, given the death toll fentanyl has inflicted on American families. Look, I dare say there's not a single family out there who has lost a loved one, a child maybe, to fentanyl, who doesn't believe that the president should declare war on these drug lords and that this is not a national security issue. Now, critics, again, counter that the approach risks regional escalation, that it blurs the line between law enforcement and warfare, and may not directly address the primary fentanyl pipelines into the United States. But again, we know that it's still a problem. And quite frankly, I don't know about you, but I don't care that Maduro thinks this may be warfare. Call it whatever you want. Again, it's destroying American families, and we have to stop it. And what's clear is this. By classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, President Trump is fundamentally changing how the federal government frames and fights the drug crisis. There's no longer just a public health issue in the eyes of the administration. Again, it's a national security emergency, and we need to dedicate the resources, the time, and the effort to fight this. And as with all national security decisions, the consequences, both intended and unintended, are likely to shape U.S. policy, regional stability, and political debate heading into next year's election cycle. I want to hear the Democrats argue against this one. I want to hear Democrats and the left argue that we should not be protecting our young people from fentanyl. Somebody help make that argument. Love to hear from you. Text me. Email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Somebody tell me why it's a bad idea for us to declare this a national security issue. You can leave me a message, too, on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com to get the very best deal. And, boy, Christmas is here, folks. You still have time to do some shopping online. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Let me go over some of the deals with you that Mike Lindell has. And all you have to do to get these deals is use promo code Joey. Put my name in the promo code area. My Pillows, the original standard pillows, Normally $49.98, now only $14.98 with promo code Joey. You can upgrade to a queen size for only $18.99. King sizes are only $1 more, $19.99. Now, we know that MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March the 1st, 2026. You always have to be happy with what you got. Other deals, too. The Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack, $29.98. My slippers with a free bottle of leather protected spray so you can wear them outside. Like my dear friend Dennis Nash, who we lost a few weeks ago. Dennis was just a great guy. He would often tell me about wearing his MyPillow slippers out to deer hunt. His brother-in-law found him deceased on a deer hunt early that morning in late October. I miss Dennis. He's a great guy. But you can get some of those same My Slippers for $39.98. They range in a price of $100 to $149.98 normally. So use promo code Joey for every single thing when you go to MyPillow.com. And don't forget, you can leave me a message on the MyPillow message line. What do you think? I mean, really, is Trump off base here by declaring that fentanyl, that this is a national security risk and that is a weapon of mass destruction? I just can't imagine those who are critical and have been critical of him making this declaration in the Oval Office yesterday, how you make that argument. Why anybody, I don't care what your party affiliation is. I don't care if you are left and woke. Why would you, oh, wait a minute, let me tell you. I'll tell you why. Because you have Trump derangement syndrome. Because you hate Donald Trump, so you don't care what he says, you're going to be opposed to it. That's why. That's why. Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.